Grief and mourning are something that comes to all of us at some time. While it is a natural progression throughout our journey in life, it can be incredibly difficult in amongst it. Grief and mourning are incredibly personal, and while there are certain aspects that are similar to us all, there is no right or wrong way to grieve. There is no one way that will be right for everyone. There are many things in our lives that we may have to grieve. The first thing that comes to our hearts and minds is the grief that comes with the loss of a loved one. This can and does change us at the very core of our being. For many people, there is a version of themselves before, and then there is a version of themselves after the loss of a loved one. The grief we feel around the loss of a pet that has been part of our family, our daily lives, and our hearts is felt deeply by many. This is a significant loss, and it is healthy and natural to grieve for your beloved pet. Grief is a complex matter, and as always, if you need help, please reach out as there is help for you. Another type of grieving process is the grief that comes about in different types of losses. For example, the loss of a job or a career. For some people, their career or job is a major part of their lives, and with that loss comes a grieving process, one that asks important questions about ourselves, such as who we are without our career. For example, if I'm not a nurse, then what am I? Grief can also be about the way we thought our lives would be, and if something happens to us that changes that ideal, then we grieve. A prime example of this is if we are diagnosed with a chronic illness. There are many people living with chronic illness in our society, and such illnesses impact so many aspects of our lives, what we can do, and how our lives change. This type of change includes a grieving process. As you can see, there are many different ways in which we grieve throughout our lives, and art and creativity can assist in the grieving and mourning process. Art and creativity come in many different forms, and by the simple process of including these into your healing and grieving journey, they may help you in ways that you never imagined. Throughout the centuries, we have created art and artistic pieces to help us find meaning in our losses, both in a spiritual and more material way. There have always been certain artistic rites of passage that accompany grieving, such as creating mourning jewelry, poems, and clay pots to hold sacred items for the dead. Art and creativity help in the grieving process by allowing you a vessel to express emotions that may not be able to be expressed in any other way. A painting can say 1,000 words. A special wooden box you have decorated to hold memorabilia in can help you create focus on what was beautiful and important to your loved one. Or creating a scrapbook journal about your previous career can help you see the journey and where you can go from here. Giving yourself some time out to create is also an important aspect of art and creativity in your grieving journey. Grief can be overwhelming and encompassing, but when we get into the flow of creativity, we can give ourselves the gift of mindful meditation to focus on something outside of ourselves, something that we have created with our own hands, and it can bring us great joy. Many people do not believe that they are creative or artistic. This is not the case. Everyone is creative in their own way. Finding something that gives you joy in the creation process is what is important. Don't think about the end product, whether it will be good enough. It is the process that counts, the intention, the love and heart you put into it. Creativity comes in many forms and many things you may not even have thought about. Here are some ideas. Grab a bunch of coloured pencils or crayons and draw out your emotions. Write a grief journal, maybe for your eyes only. Create a scrapbook of your loved one or your grief journey. Create a wooden memento box. Indulge in some nature craft and create a montage with your journey in mind. If you love fantasy games, grab some figurines, paint and create a small army to help you on your journey. Sew a memory quilt with your loved one's clothes. Write a poem. Grab a camera and take some photos. Creating art with your grief journey in heart allows you to express deep emotions in a safe manner and to give them a voice and a vision. The end product does not matter as much as the process. Don't think that using creativity in art in your journey has to be perfect or for others to see. This is about you, your loved one, your loss, your heart. If you feel you have never been a creative person, then this may feel like a block for you and something that may not help. Your creativeness will look different to anyone else's, just as your grieving journey will look different. To get over this block, it is a great idea to do just something, even for 5 minutes, and don't judge your work. It is not about doing it the best, it is about expressing yourself. For many people, the grieving journey, no matter what form that takes for you, can lead to many questions about faith, spirit, and the afterlife. This is completely natural, and art and creativity can help form those questions and perhaps answer a few. Creating from the heart with an open mind and spirit will allow us into the flow of creativity. Some people believe that this can help us find some answers or allow us to see our beliefs in a sharper focus. No matter what our religious or spiritual beliefs, embracing creativity will help us in our spirituality through our grieving process. Art and creativity are a fabulous way to help children through their grieving journey. Many children may find this easier than talking about their feelings, some feelings that they don't fully understand yet, but they can express through creativity. And to be honest, this also applies to adults as well. Helping a child draw out their emotions, have some creative play, or build with Play-Doh will allow them to have time to process and create something tangible. If a child is old enough to create something special, such as decorate a memory box for them to store special mementos in, that is a good way for them to have something to go to when they feel the need to. Many people like to create with a purpose in mind, a goal. A great way to do this is to create some memorabilia. Memorabilia comes in many shapes and sizes, and it depends on what you love to create. Even something as simple as a hand-painted photo frame to hold a picture can feel satisfying and something to treasure. If you are into sewing, a memory quilt or pillow is something you can create from your loved one's clothes or in your loved one's favorite colors to have something to cherish and hug when you need to. The process of creating the quilt with such intention will imbue it with love and joy. Creativity doesn't just mean traditional creative arts and crafts. Creativity is in everything. If you love to cook, creating in the kitchen will bring you joy and intention to create food for yourself and your loved ones, nourishing and showing great love. If you're mechanically inclined, then finishing off the car restoration that you couldn't do when you were employed, for example, will give you a sense of great accomplishment and give you time to grieve a way of life and a career you believed would still be there for you on your journey. Creativity and giving comes in so many different ways and is such an individual thing, just as each of us are individual. There is something out there for everyone, even if you try your hand at something new. If you give yourself time and have no judgment, you can find a new joy and hobby as you process your grieving journey. So what do you do with your creations when you are done? This, of course, depends on what you create. If you are creating something with a specific goal in mind, then work towards that goal, but also don't forget the journey, the moments in which you create. For example, if you're creating jewelry and you use a loved one's favorite crystal, then do so with intention, with your heart, and with the end in mind. Or if you're creating a memory scrapbook, then you will have that creativity within those parameters and allow yourself to create with joy and compassion. If you don't have a specific purpose for the artwork you create, then that is perfectly fine. This can actually lead you to opening up in many different facets of your journey and emotions which you did not consider, as it lets flow and ebb your emotions and takes precedence. Firstly, don't judge your creative works. Keep them all. This way you can see your journey. You will see different moments, different emotions, and how you have changed and grown over time. Some people like to gift their creative works to others, especially family and friends who knew their loved one or their grieving journey. Others keep them private for their eyes only, and this is perfectly okay as well. For some people, they find a whole new interest and hobby through this journey, and it leads to ways in which they'd never believed or could foresee. Whatever you do with your creative works, enjoy the process. Put your heart and emotions into them. Allow them to help you on your way to heal. Creativity is within everyone, and everyone goes through a grieving journey throughout life. Combining both of these elements to help us heal is therapeutic and healing. There are many books out there pertaining to creativity and the grieving process. If this interests you, then head to your library and see what they have to say, or you can grab an art brush and jump right in. If you feel the need of some assistance in finding your creativity in your grieving journey, then there are many art therapists who can assist you. Creative and artistic therapy can bring up many very strong and important emotions, so be gentle with yourself. Always reach out for help when you need it. Thank you for reading and joining me, and blessed be to you all.